Alright guys, welcome back to the channel where we get you on the grind and improve your mind. In this video we want to talk about how to deal with emotional coworkers. So let's get into it. So as we said in the title, this is about dealing with emotional coworkers. Now most people in this video can probably relate if you're working in an area and you don't have your own business, you're not a sole entrepreneur. You probably have to work with people to an extent. You probably work in maybe an office building or maybe a store, maybe a convenience store. Maybe you're a boss of a bunch of staff and you have to be able to handle them and see what's going on in the area every single day. Or maybe you're just an average worker working on the front lines that have to deal with your emotional coworkers talking about crap all day and their useless lives that they hate. So we're going to that, and this video is more about how to deal with that.
Especially nowadays, like a lot of people are becoming more expressing their emotions more, and they're letting their feelings out and everything. So like
feelings. Remember, guys, we live in a very emotional world right now. So in the workplace, that's just part of it.
I'll see this every so often, like where people get all emotional about certain things, and they let things get to them, and they get pissed off or they get real upset. But like to me, when like stuff happens like that, I'm just like. I just look around, I'm just like, what the heck's happening? And I just continue doing what I'm doing because in my mind as a worker, as someone who works there, I just go in, clock in, do my work, don't care about, anyone else's business, and I just go home. I clock out and I go home. And I do it all again the next time I come in. I don't care to get involved with other people's business because it's, number one, it's not my business to get into. So if someone's having an issue and they're getting all frantic and pissy about something, to me, as someone who would be an average worker, I just do my thing and just completely ignore it and not get involved in any way. Because once you get involved into an emotional tangent that someone's in, then pretty much your aura just gets all messed up because their negativity and their emotions they're feeling is going to get put into you. And maybe not fully, but there'll be that little bit, and it might screw up your entire day if you let that happen. So what I do is I just try to completely ignore any type of drama or emotional outrage that someone might be having or something like that, and I just go on about my day because I know that when I clock out of work and I go home, I completely forget about work and stuff. I completely forget about what happened, unless if something really crazy happens, which I'll, then I'll tell the boys. But otherwise, like when people are going on these crazy emotional things, I just pretend like it didn't even happen. There was actually a time where two of my coworkers were fighting. They were yelling at each other, and I was just doing my work. I just kept going. I just tried blanking them out, and I just kept doing my thing, and I was doing whatever, and like they were just fighting nonstop for like 15 minutes. And when my bosses came to me and like asked me about it because I was there, I told them like I just tried not to listen, and I just kept working, and they were just like, oh, thank you. Like I didn't want to get involved in that situation. I just stuck to myself and I just did my thing.
You got to remember, like, a lot of people hate their lives, like, outside of work. So when they come in, a lot of people are looking for something to emotionalize on. People are looking for a fight. You got to avoid those kind of people. You want to, it goes back to a law of power we did, right? Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. You want to avoid people with, like, bad attitudes and, let's just say you're doing your thing at your job and somebody has a little bad attitude. You don't want to get too much into it unless, like, you're really worried about them asking what's going on. You want to sort of avoid that negative energy because a lot of people, they go to work, they're looking for a fantasy while they're on the job, to distract them from the fact that they're actually at the job. So people actually go looking for trouble. They'll be looking for some drama. They'll be looking for some kind of fight. They want something to think about. They want something to emotionalize on. What you got to do is you got to give them nothing, right? You got to give them nothing to go on because it's not worth it. As soon as you say something like out of the ordinary, I'm not saying not to be yourself, and of course you got to be who you are and what you believe in, and you got to say, you got to have fun with it. But at the same time, you don't want to go to some unnecessary levels. You don't want to go viewing some unnecessary crap at your workplace. You don't want to start some nonsense drama. You don't want to say, oh, he said, she said that. Like, no man is going to come into his workplace trying to start some shit. He's going to go, he's going to do his job, he's going to get out. There's no point trying to start some useless stuff. And remember, a lot of people, they go into the workplace and they have open ears, like they're always listening. You got to be careful around those because as soon as you do something that, people, they're going to talk. Everybody's going to talk at some point, some level. So you just got to, like, remain calm at all times. If someone tries to come after you, you got to use, like, a muse mastery. You can be like, laugh it off, like, or you own something maybe. I don't know, maybe there's something certain about you someone said, and you could just own it. You could do it that way. Be like, oh, yeah, that's me. Oh, well. You can just laugh it off and brush it off, or you just ignore it and not take it too seriously. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to, like, go full swing emotionalism. You don't want to feed into the fire. You don't want to pour gasoline on the fire that's already brewing. It's not worth it because you're just going to, not only are you going to take yourself off from the job, you're just going to put yourself into some unnecessary situations that you're not getting paid. Like, are you getting paid to work, or are you getting paid to say he said, she said that? Like, you're not getting paid to fuel the fire. You're not getting paid to start drama to make people cry at work. It's just not really worth it. Like, you really have to. What's worth your time and energy? Stay into the good times, stay out of the bad times, right?
Yeah, and sometimes I feel bad for managers because when it's not a manager that's being emotional and it's the coworkers, it's the people that are under them and they're being emotional and they're fighting or whatever, and the managers have to deal with that, then it's like the 48 laws of power where you were saying is like stay away from them, but like you literally can't because you have to resolve that issue when it's your people that are fighting within from underneath you. You know, you have to resolve those issues, and
sometimes you got to get in there and you got to problem solve, which sucks. But it's
and I feel like that's just a gross cycle of emotionalism. So like the people underneath get emotional and they start fighting. So then
even
the boss,
managers too. I see managers lose their
exactly.
Too.
That's what I'm getting to. So the boss will get involved to resolve the issue. Then now they have some type of emotion, and they eventually they'll lash out in emotion, and it's just a gross cycle. So like once they're involved in an emotional situation, then eventually they're going to have that as well, and especially since they have to deal with and resolve the issue that was at hand on their team. I do not envy managers, a lot of managers that have to deal with that stuff because you just don't want to deal with that. And certain ones take it well. Certain managers I know personally, like when they deal with like emotional situations with people, they know how to handle it and they never get emotional. They're very stern and they're very good with keeping like their emotions at bay at the same time of resolving issues with emotional coworkers. So I praise them greatly, actually.
You want to also be careful of your reputation at the workplace. You don't want to be known as the guy who
cries in the bathroom.
Yeah, cries in the bathroom, and you also don't want to be known as the person who talks about everybody else. If you're one of these people, you need to stop talking about others at work in a negative view. Don't be a source of negative energy. You don't want to be that guy. You want to be the guy people just tell you things and you just say, "Oh wow, whatever." He's so silly. Like, you gotta at least play it off. Don't feed to it. Don't be like, "Oh yeah, he is a dickhead." Like, you don't want to feed it. Let the fire do its thing, and it's gonna die down. Don't add to it. You don't have to go into it. Just listen to what people say. Be a good listener. Let people talk. Let people talk it out. Right. Just be a good listener, and that solves a lot of problems right there. Don't add to it. Just listen, understand where they're coming from, and let it go. A lot of you guys have a problem with letting things go. You let it all get to you, then you're all shuffled up. It's like, oh my God. You just go crazy, and your whole mood is ruined. You let it all get to you. Guys, you got to stop letting things get to you. You got to practice meditation when you got to work. You got to start eating healthy, because when you're eating crappy foods and you come to work, you're already in a bad mood. You didn't have your coffee. Like, you got to just remain calm. You got to just resist the temptation to give into it, because it's not really worth it, and you're just spending your energy on useless productivity. So guys, when it comes to your coworkers, be mindful of what's going on. Be a good listener. Don't take it too seriously. Do not feed into it. Be a responsible adult, as you should. I know it can be hard to do that, but it's very important that you maintain your emotional cool at all times. Don't get crazy. Don't be a drama spreader. Don't be a shit talker at work. Stop that if you are. So that's how you handle emotional coworkers. If you have any comments or experiences, leave it in the comment section below. Make sure you like the video if you have not already. Subscribe to the channel, and we're going to see you guys in the next video.